EDC was created in 1960. A bunch of guys got together in downtown Lancaster. These guys were the major hitters in the community.
Their real interest was promoting the attraction of manufacturing and industrial firms to the community.
Always trying to find new ways to energize Lancaster.
We were founded as the Industrial Development Company of Lancaster County.
They said, we're seeing growth occur in other communities in the state and across the nation. We're not seeing it occur here.
Their first major action was to acquire a piece of property that would become known as the Lancaster Hempfield Industrial Park.
It was really the first industrial park in the county.
They assembled properties, put in infrastructure, sewer, roads, and water. They did all this with their own money, not government money, but their own money.
I suspect these men saw what was coming as far as creating new jobs, keeping jobs in the county.
It's amazing from that vision what EDC has done for Lancaster County in the last 50 years.
EDC is all about growth in Lancaster County.
We exist to attract and retain job-producing businesses, jobs that will exist for decades to come.
It's important to pause and celebrate elements of our community that are so critical.
You're standing on the shoulders of the men and women who provided leadership to that organization. Knowing where you came from and what you've done is important.
That same group somehow found out that there was an Air Force depot just north of Marietta. The government said, well, we'll sell it to this quasi-public-private entity, EDC. Armstrong purchased that facility from EDC.
They also had their carpet plant there at one time. It was a lot of jobs. That ran 3 shifts a day for many years.
Everybody was very proud of it because it added a lot of jobs to Lancaster and helped one of the key industrial leaders be here.
The mission had become much broader than just attracting manufacturing companies to the community. The name was changed to Economic Development Company of Lancaster County.
At that time, the urban renewal project in the downtown was simply a big hole in the ground.
EDC came in and took ownership of the property and then worked with then National Central Bank and Armstrong Corp Company on building the 2 office buildings that are there today.
Overnight, it put to work 350 people in Center City, Lancaster. Think what that meant for restaurants and department stores and everybody in the city.
If you look back over the 50 years and you look at the fact that so many of those projects are still there, look at the impact that we've had.
When we came to town a little over 20 years ago, we were looking for a home.
Without EDC financing and EDC involvement, it never would have gotten off the ground.
If you look at the corner where we're located, we actually transformed that part of town.
Bringing the young people back down to town, the vitality that they brought in, the energy.
Beyond that, there have been a whole series of major projects that the EDC's gotten involved with.
Sometimes it's not just financial support, it's public support, general business and community support.
The post office was one of those buildings. It had potential, but how do you convert potential into reality?
The ownership has gone through several iterations. The uses now are just fantastic.
The building is one to be proud of. It's just a beautiful building and important to keep it in service.
If you look at the projects that we have funded, they have all occurred within the urban growth boundaries.
EDC has walked the line between trying to be responsible for areas that could be developed as well as preserving farms.
First farm experience was the Rohr family case. We helped the 2 sons purchase the family farm where they had built broiler houses. The parents, Roger and Candy, used some of those resources to purchase the farm that Roger grew up on, so they were actually able to expand their farming operation.
They've been very easy to work with, have learned to adapt to the unique languages and cultural differences that ag community requires, and it's been a good run.
It's really kind of neat that you get to touch so many different projects and work with an entire family as they expand and transition their farming operations to the younger generation.
One of the strengths of EDC is understanding Lancaster County, the brand and the culture, and working to support that while also preparing it for the new opportunities.
EDC is always about changing to suit the current environment and applying what our limited resources are in thoughtful, intelligent ways. How do you know when a problem is an opportunity? You don't. You have to work through it, and experience tells you eventually. You use some gauges. You hope that you're going to revitalize the community. We were involved in what was called the Northwest Triangle on North Prince Street, an area that had been targeted for redevelopment for 50 years. We learned that there was an opportunity to purchase that site.
And David came to the board and he said, we may have to put some money down, and we don't really have a lot of money to put into stuff. And we said, find a way.
So we met with the baseball people. They thought it was the dumbest idea in the world. You can't fit a baseball stadium on that site. We ended up buying several more pieces of land. But that project doesn't happen again without partnerships.
Bringing together the public sector, the private sector.
Working with the county redevelopment authority, bring baseball to Lancaster. We were able to put together a project that resulted in the creation of Clipper Magazine Stadium.
I think the best is yet to come. I think the ballpark is going to be an anchor for the entire development of that Northwest area.
It's a combination of board guidance and direction through the strategic plan and staff energy and expertise to make sure that we find the right projects to fulfill that plan.
The original 1990 plan was forward-thinking enough that it gave EDC the latitude that it needed to move in all the directions.
It's a very small staff, a very mighty staff who from decade to decade have dedicated themselves and given of their time to really demonstrate their commitment to community.
Couldn't have asked for a better team to help support you and assist you.
They've really helped us put Lancaster on the map.
The goal is not to say, look what I did. The goal is to achieve what needs to be done.
We've prided ourselves in taking a back seat and letting the project get the media attention.
They're the facilitators, not people that take the credit.
We do better when we give credit to others.
If we're the spark plug, we just spark and keep the thing going. There's other people that are the oxygen, the fuel.
If we empower the business people in making these investments, we all prosper.
Maybe one of the best examples of that is the Armstrong Project.
They really needed an organization that could step in order to help make it a feasible project.
It was approximately 47 acres, close to 200 buildings there that had to be demolished.
When we first heard of it, the task seemed very daunting.
And now we have the opportunity to basically refreshen that part of the city.
Projects like that create a lot of employment.
All along the way, it's been a really positive project for both the organizations and the city as well.
The EDC was in that heartbeat to heartbeat all the way through.
This is going to be a project that will be recognized in this community. It will be a true gateway as we grow.
Pretty much anywhere you look, EDC has had some sort of involvement.
They have helped many small businesses, many small manufacturing businesses like Dutchland, and to me that's exciting.
Helping small entrepreneurs who otherwise might not be able to have a chance. It's really comforting when that same entrepreneur has come back to you the second, third time wanting additional financing because their project has grown. And that gives you a real sense of self-worth. While you're helping them, you're helping the community as well.
As you drive around Lancaster County and you ask us, what have we been involved in? It's in the cities, it's in the boroughs, it's in the townships.
For example, Mannheim with their KOZ area, we'd have an empty industrial complex here if it weren't for EDC.
Would some of those things have happened anyway? Certainly. Certain things would have happened without us.
But I can just look back and think of all the different organizations that have benefited from the financing programs that we offer. Who would have provided those conduits? What would have happened if we hadn't had an organization like EDC to step in and serve the critical roles that they served in those gateway projects?
I'm not sure I could prove that, without EDC, the ballpark wouldn't have happened, but I would be somewhat skeptical that it would have happened the way it did and been the success it was.
Their track record proves that they do a good job. I hate to think where Lancaster County would be all these years without EDC.
Lancaster County is an outstanding community as a direct result of EDC.